Hello and good afternoon, and I'm excited to get going. I've said "and" way too many times, but that's fine. We're gonna jump right in. Shoop. Great. I have a blank canvas here. I was looking at dropping stuff is what I'm really doing. There we go. I want to do a mutant abomination today, which is what I've titled my video. It's a bit cryptic, but I was looking at ducks. And also I like this outfit here, so we're gonna do something about that. Now the first initial idea I had was that it would be a lady and she had like this cloth thing on her head hiding the duck on the back of her head. And like during the reveal, not like that, and like during the reveal, her head could snap around, revealing the true duck on the hind, like Voldemort. Duck tongues are weird and scary, yeah. But I think first I'm going to, yes. I want it to be quite unsettling if I can manage that. Like she'll have this nice thing, not like that, that's cone-headed. I think I'm just going to start with a large sketch from the side so I can get an idea of how everything will be structured. And then we could do some neat expression pages. Whoop. And of course she'll have an eye. Maybe it'll do some weird thing where it's connecting, sort of, and then it's like pulling her eyes up into like a wing. That might be interesting. Like from the front, it could look like a wing. Nope. It's fairly duckly. Whoop. You can make her, that eye needs to be a bit smaller. All right. Yeah, it's fairly interesting. We can make her I like that. Let's move that over there. Nope, it's not selected. There we go. And probably some sort of... I was thinking she could be a hidden courtier. And people don't know about her duck origins. I could do something freaky with her legs, maybe. I could give her a fan, sort of alluding to her duckness. Whip. Nope. Ah, yes, everything is crooked. Perfect. I want to get to the point where I don't need to flip the canvas to make sure things aren't crooked. That's my goal. we go. Nice. I think for her hat she'll wear, I was looking at like medieval type head coverings, and she could wear something kind of long, oblong. That is on a completely different layer, and I just went ahead and did that anyway, so might as well combine them. Great, I'm gonna jump to another layer and probably do like a clothing sketch. I think I want to be long and feathery and fairly plumey, like it is in my reference there. That arm is actually kind of long and oddly shaped, which is great. Yeah, alright. I think I want her legs to be showing. Maybe her feet are kind of long, like a little bit. We could do this feather type trailing. That's cool. I like that, I think. Maybe it would be interesting if she was a bit lopsided on her face. Like maybe it only pulled up on one side. I need that to be higher. Of course, at this point, part of it is covered, so she just kind of has a funky face, which could be interesting. Nope, not that. There we go. Ears? No way. Ears are for nerds. Gotta turn that down. Whoop, turn it down. There we go. Now I could really see how weird it looks. Probably something semi-decorated would be great. Okay, cool. Let's find like a screaming duck. That would be great. Something is wrong here. Oh, I guess not. Just the connection's bad. That's alright. Okay. I don't know how that happened. Anyway. Alright. Let's type that in correctly. Good. And search. That's a dog. Ooh. Yeah, they have these funny ribbings often on their tongue. And yes. Let's go with that. Download. Sweet, jump back in. Let's slap that as a reference inside. Procreate does have a reference thing, but when I have multiple references, I just like to have the pictures sitting on the canvas. Makes it easier. Boom. Great. I'm gonna work large pencil, and I'm gonna start on the screaming duck head. I'm thinking, like I said earlier, I kind of want her head to like snap around and pull up, so like her face is facing up and the duck will be there screaming her true colors. I don't like that. if we can do it. I think what's really interesting is actually the ribbed tongue here. So I will definitely want to include that. And of course her face will be shaping up. I don't know how her body will be. That's her jawline. Ooh. Let's figure this out. I'm thinking nose will be here. Be great if her mouth was like slightly open. She don't got ears. Ears are... Ears aren't for her. Ears are lame. So I'm just gonna... The pinkness and like the small dot in the middle. Ooh, we'll get that working. And I want her face to be kind of like just curving on the outside of it. That makes sense. And her neck will be craning. And this will actually be like her back. Yes. Okay, and we'll try to get her outfit to help say that this is the back part. This weird shirt thing probably just looks like a weird cape thing from the back. So maybe something like that. Maybe it'll have a ribbing so we can get folds in there. That is confusing as flip to look at. I need some sort of implication. I'm gonna start again. Let's instead start with the whole body so I can get a whole idea of how she's craning. She'll be craning upwards. That's her head, that's her face. That's a weird neck again. I need her back to be pointed more this way, so we'll see a little bit of the forward. And this will be the duck. I'll work on that expression in a second. I want her nose to be sticking up and like her eyelashes there. If she did have ears, it would actually help with the directionness of it, maybe. Or it would look like weird little flaps. I don't know. I'll get to that when I hit my smaller pencil. Back. Fold back. And this will probably be where her first shoulder is, and the other shoulder will be here, but I want to look like her back. The back kind of overlaps the shoulders, if that makes sense. So we're going to start with that. That is the awkwardest pose I think I've ever drawn. Maybe if her hand was up. The thumb would be facing us. So we could do something like that, where her arm is up. That could be interesting. I'm gonna bring her hand closer because that's a really long arm. I often make hands like way too big on the first try. If she had subtle ribbing on her hands and feet, that would be cool. So we can do something like that. And that's fairly flowy. If we added a seam here, or I could just put her in a different outfit for this part, just to help with visibility. Liam, I'm streaming.
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
Right now.
You left your open.
Yeah.
You have vocals on?
Yeah.
Bruh! That's what I got.
Alright, cool. I'm starting to like that. That crane is odd. I'm gonna flip the canvas and then realize it's terrible. Actually, it's not that bad. We'll do that, and then for the outfit, maybe without this funny sleeve top, will just be a low-backed dress type thing. I think it should go over her arms like that, give us some gorgeous back looking, and then on her back we could see like maybe a few pieces of like sad little non-grown wings. Alright, cool. That would be good. Yeah, okay, I like that. Now I'm gonna work on this duck expression because right now it kind of looks like that guy from the first Beetlejuice when he stretched his face. What if you give her a hat so that way you can show direction? A hat. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe we could give her like a little head jewelry type thing. That might be helpful. And then we could show it sticking up. My only fear is that it would interfere with the shape of the nose. Because I want her nose coming up. That'd be good. Anyway, let's think about this duck expression before we get sidetracked more. I need a smaller pen. Not that. That's too thick. Yes. Okay. So, duck expression is up like that, and then we have its mouth and it comes up. That's hilarious looking. What if you give her a hat so that way you can show direction? And then we'll have his tongue out like this. That's horrible. Anyway. Her head is here. Her jaw points up like that. Some structural drawings. So it comes across here, and then we'll have her nose pointing up like that, and we'll have room for eyeball and whatnot. And then we can get into her face. So we'll have that eye coming here, maybe even it sticking out a little bit. And we want a really open mouth if we can do that. That would be cool. It's pointed like that. It doesn't look as freaky, probably because I gave it cute little button eyes. But I think the angle of that is pretty reasonable. Except that looks like a goof. Wah. She looks like she's going wah. That's alright though, we'll just do this. We could actually bring it up more. Nope, stop that. And we'll have her tongue coming in like that. I think the other eyeball being visible is messing with this, so we're going to move this whole thing over a bit. And we'll sketch in like that duckness. Do that, pull it. That's not bad. Let's do a sketch of everything, kind of a structural sketch. We want her back seam. Yeah. Her dress will be kind of like that. We'll curve it around. Maybe it'd be cool if it had some like delicate gold ribbing around it, and we'll do her little shoulder muscle here. Maybe she is angry. I mean, she does have a duck head on the back of her head. That'd be pretty infuriating. Like, how do you brush that duck's teeth? And also, like, the throat part of it would be horrifying, right? So her throat would come around here, and then would it join with this throat? Or would this just be a fake mouth now? Because she still has her teeth. Here, and like her nose. And then we'll have the duck skull coming across on top. What did duck skeletons look like anyway? Move it. Duck skeleton. Yeah, you know, bird. She does have a duck head on the back of her head. That'd be pretty infuriating. Like, how do you brush that duck's teeth? And then he'd have like the eye socket here. It'd actually have like a lot of holes because duck skulls have a ton of holes in them. Like, that's confusing. Will she just get choked up right here all the time? Or is this not a throat anymore? And she just has this jaw without a throat on it. These are big questions, people. I'll save that sketch. But first I'm going to separate it out from the sketch I was working on. Boom. Anyway, time to try and make this hand less terrible. So the thumb would be facing us because it's coming from double throat. Sounds more gnarly. It definitely is gnarly. That is accurate. But I think it would be... Double throat would be gnarly. I think it'd be equally creepy if she opened her mouth and she just like had a weird skin hole there. Like it was just a dimple. Like, that's confusing. Will she just get choked up right here all the time? Or is this not a throat anymore? Anyway, let's work on this hand. That is a stupid hand. If she's from the front, she's probably doing this cute little pose thing before she flips her head up to horrify us. So we'll have her hand down like that. And that is definitely handly, yes. You gotta fix that and make it more whatever. Cool. I like that. I'm gonna work on her. Smash up. Great. She's definitely very crooked here. I think I do want her face pulling up. Oh, I need a different layer. Did I? Okay, that was weird. Anyway. I'm going to sketch out her skull real quick. Could do a round, just a very simple skull, so I can get a good idea of skullness. We'll have this eye here and that eye. That's a very sad skull. He looks sad. That's not my problem though. Good. And we'll turn that down, turn this way down. That way I can get an idea. I want to do a bony nose, if that would be. Then we'll do a nice, cute eyeball. I was playing with the idea that it could be like solidly black and shiny, kind of like a duck eye. But then it would make her creepy, like fully creepy from the front, which might upstage this wonderful thing I have going over here. So instead, I think we'll just do a cute eye. And then we'll have this eye stretched a little bit and pulled up. Maybe we'll move it. And it pulls up right into her hairline. People are like, oh, that's some funky eyeliner you got going on. And she's like, oh yeah, totally. Totally. Great. We could also have her lip pulled up a little bit. Nope, not like that. And the reason I drew the skull in is because I was kind of thinking of having her skin pulled tight around her skull, which would be good, and then I could give her a nice face on the other side. Let's quickly cover one side of her face and see if that's fairly normal looking. Boom. Ah, yes. Very normal, very good. Oh, wait, never mind. Up, it's fine. Up, it's fine. Okay, cool. I'm actually going to keep that covered so I can kind of mess with this lip a little bit. And then we'll do a very cute lip on this side. I like that. Subtle shading. And we can give her... I'm still on the fence about ears. If I gave her an ear, then she could have a cute little drop earring. Yeah, I like that. We'll do some more shading in the painting process later. I really just need to get a good basis. We'll turn that off. Ah, yes. Okay, cool. Okay, we'll fix this divide just a little bit. And I want our lips to like pull up. A little cute little snoot. Maybe she'll just have one ear. Or she can have a funny squished ear that she still puts earrings on. Turn off the skull. Okay. She'll have white, feathery hair. Well, looks like hair. We all know it's not hair. It'll be coming down. Her head comes up like this. We'll have her duck head here. That looks funny. It reminds me of that Conehead comedy. I never watched it, but I saw it a lot. Cool. I think her eye, this eye is too close to the edge of that, so we'll shrink it and bring it in. Doing some eraser. Cool. I'm gonna turn her head a little bit, and before I mess with her costume, I'm actually gonna work on this for a second. We'll give her a bit of structure here. I could give her like a long waist, but I was mainly thinking about long neckness. Of course, I kind of default to long neckedness in a lot of my work. Uncomfortably long. I was thinking about doing some funky feet here. That looks like digigrade feet. Like dog feet. And I want dog feet. Duck feet are kind of funny though. They're just flat little doodads. Bork. My dogs are in here with me, so they're being rude. What am I gonna do? Kick them out? Her knees are super low. I can move them up. Whoop. Just scoot your knees up, it's fine. Cool. That is a weird foot. It's still weird. I think it's also gigantic. Nope, that's not better. Heal. My dogs are in here with me, so they're being rude. What am I gonna do? Kick them out? Her knees are super low. I can move them up. Whoop. Just scoot your knees up, it's fine. Great, I like that. I think we'll do a little bit of a thing. Oh yeah, I want to do little wings on this. That's why it was down. So I want to do deflated little sad wings here. They're not functional whatsoever. They're just horrible little flips on her back. Maybe they're wrinkly and pink and probably have like those bird spots. And it'll cause probably horrible wrinkles down her back. Something like that. I like that. I can come in later for some adjusting, but we'll just keep it like that for a minute. Drop those two together and back up to what I was doing before. And I like that because the hand pose is actually quite similar here, so I think that pushes the idea, the narrative a little bit. That this is the back. Ah, they make you give them a slice of bread. That makes sense. My dog wants cheese, though. Yeah, he's a cheese man. Is this elbow weird? It could be. Let's start with that muscle first, and then I can do that. Do a little bit of cleaning. And then we'll do a nice arm thing. I like that because the hand pose is actually quite similar here, so I think that pushes the idea, the narrative a little bit. That could work. That's a very thin thing. If she's pointing at us, her thumb would not be pointing at us. So she'll have two fingers. Nope. There we go. And maybe that thumb sticking out from underneath. No. We'll make the hand smaller because it's massive yet again. Point it up. A little bit of erasing. Fold. Something's weird with that hand. Yet again. Quick hand up here. I like to put the two fingers together for posing, and then I'll separate them out later. So we can do her two fingers here, one finger out for, I don't know, expression. Fix that. I get very wibbly when I'm drawing. I think it's because I'm trying to mimic every single knuckle that I know is in the finger, which makes my lines very squidgy. That's better. Claws? No. Yes, no. It's a little long. Whoop. There we go. Whoop. Okay, cool. Ooh, we could do some webbing between her fingers. I want it to be kind of subtle. Because my idea is that she's a courtier. I think underneath her arms, it would make sense that she had underneath her arms. Underneath her sleeves, it would make sense if she had feathers. I'll go ahead and drop that on our duck pose over here. Maybe sticking out here so that in the silhouette, it's very recognizable. That works, and we'll do some on her shoulder. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Great. I actually like that hand quite a bit. And now we'll do her other arm here, and I want her to be holding a fan. And the fan, we could really express some significant duckness here. Thumb will be coming from up, so we'll do that. Give her painted nails. And I could draw the rest of her fingers, but I'm not gonna, because instead I'm gonna draw this fan.
I think underneath her arms, it would make sense if she had underneath her arms. Underneath her sleeves, it would make sense if she had feathers.
Cool. And we'll do this zigzag. Nope, not like that. That's terrible.
Maybe sticking out.
We could just do a nice smooth fan with some cute ribbing along it. If we actually, nope. Yeah, that could work. Let's work on this arm for a second.
Now we'll do her other arm here.
Not like that. That is an incredibly long. Actually, it's not. I'm just used to it being an incredibly long arm. Maybe I should just live my dreams out and draw someone with incredibly long arms, like they go all the way down to the ground. Yeah, I'm gonna put that on the list of something. That's kind of neat, and we'll move. Now we can actually do her head and connect it. Gotta move it over a little bit. I'm gonna jump to another layer so that I can draw without messing up what else I've developed here. Nope. I'm thinking, how far off her body can I make her head without it being weird? That's kind of goofy. Let's bring her head back down. Well, I did make a monster with an incredibly long neck, but it was mainly because the neck also got really wide, so it kind of mimicked like a giraffe neck. It was really wide and muscular. And that's a monster design I was working on for a different project. And I think I'm gonna keep him. It's a whole thing. Shoot, nope. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna jump over and start working on some clothes. Gonna turn off that guy so I forgot this was underneath. It makes me want to do this. Ah, yes. Very nice. Anyway, get out of here. Okay. I'm gonna turn down the opacity, turn that down really low so I can get an idea of thing. The great thing about having such a long, illustrious neck is I can really show off a giant, massive collar, which would be pretty cool. In the reference, it's kind of just a ribbed collar, so I could do that instead of my typical, I'm going to call it a seashell collar. And we'll do that with some nice ribbing along the side. I'm going to bring it down to a point here. It should be following the shape of her body, which is going, oh, I just saw that and now it's being weird. That's better? I don't know. Anyway, back to what I was doing. Okay. She has some nice folds coming from here. We can mimic that to kind of make it look like the shape of feathers for the sewing. So we'll do that. I want to do a nice... I want to show off a little bit of arm because I'd love to do some duck leg detailing, like that kind of scaly texture on her arms subtly to kind of hint at it more. I'm going to give her a crease there and these nice big thing. Ooh, okay. And we'll do that, mimic that here, which is fairly interesting because she has this fold, this bend in her arm. And we'll do that. It'll come across here. Higher. It'll go up. like that. And then we'll do the cloth comes from here. Nope, I don't want it mimicking like that. Cool, we'll give her big buttons, I think. It's a good duck symbol other than a feather, because I know a feather's a good duck symbol. We could give her, we could really ramp it up and give her little feather cufflink things. Those don't look like feathers right now, but I'll deal with it later. I'll deal with it in post. I need to work on that. Okay, that's kind of cool. I'm gonna flip. I like that. Now I'm gonna work on her head thing. I want her to be wearing, because this is like her don't be suspicious of me outfit. Maybe I'll give her a cute little crown type dealy. Ooh, and it can come down and actually be the earring thing. That's kind of neat. And then she'll have this kind of beehive inspired head wrap type thing. It can come down in a cool thing here, but that messes with that upward silhouette. I could bring it behind her so it's just cloth hanging behind her head. Do I like that better? I don't know. I'm going to jump down to her skirt though while I'm thinking about it. Okay, so she has, in the reference, there's some structure right there. I don't know if I care about that structure. We could definitely still do a cute little loop thing where we can expose a little bit of skin. And then we can do that ribbing type structure. And then we could pull it down. I would love to do something feathery. I know, it's very shocking with the theming here. And we could do kind of a cute thing here. I don't know how to do it in the front. I could just pull it up here and then just do, nope, that's stupid. I don't like that. Keep the cloth. I'm not sure what you mean by that, keep the cloth, but I will keep cloth. Maybe she could have, no, I don't like that combination textures. If, maybe it could work if I just did a thing. What if it was like a feather petticoat type thing and she had like a long, slinky dress here? That covers her feet entirely. Do I want her feet to be covered? If I covered her feet, I won't be able to do anything interesting with her feet. But that's kind of a neat silhouette, I think. Maybe. Turn everything off. Oh. I kind of like that a lot, actually. I want to slap down some colors so that I can really see what it looks like without all the line work. I mean, above the line work. Go, go, go. Bing. Because the cool thing about having that dress is that it would be like a solid contrast between, you know, her legs, but also this white fluffy trail coat I plan to do. And I think it contrasts rather interestingly with all of the smoother elements. Mandarin duck color. I will look up the mandarin duck in just a second. Right after I do some things. Because there's some great color options. Oh, that's weird. There's some great color options when talking about birds. Even if you were going with pigeons, it'd be fairly interesting color options. Okay, make sure I'm a new layer, black. Oh, I have to get rid of this part here. There we go. Ooh, Yeah,
between,
that's nice.
you know,
I have this guy here. I'll just give her a necklace. There you go. Anyway, I like that a lot. I'm going to turn that off and keep this. I gotta do some erasing. I want the fan to be in front so we could do a nice picture on the fan, a nice detail. One of the worst parts about putting clothes on it, you know, I worked to make these arms nice, but now I'm gonna erase them so that isn't. Maybe I'll. Nope, I always do this. I just keep a copy of the arms for later. Because I don't want to get rid of them because I drew them, but now I'm gonna cover them up. Which, you know, I want her standing there naked. That'd be weird. There we go. And then we'll do. I gotta put in some texture around that. Ooh, yeah, I like that. And we'll do a little bit of sloppy shading work. I think. Do I get rid of her ear? I'm gonna get rid of her ear. I've decided she got no ears. Ears are for not her. And we'll bring up that. Nope, that's for later. Okay, and we'll close these. I think I'm going to do like a I'm gonna do a secondary outfit, I think, with her arms showing, just because I want to see it. So we'll drag this up. I need to duplicate, make that part of her outfit. Great. Wait, I didn't do that right. What are you? Okay, wait. This is just that. Okay, I gotta combine these. Boop. And that is a nice full drawing. Great. Now I'm going to do this real quick because I'd like to do it without her sleeves. But I want to keep this hat. So I'm going to take her hat, copy it, and then I'm going to combine, delete that, and combine these two, and then I'm going to correct the outfit. So I think without all of that, it's going to be based on her back. Boop, there it is. It's going to come up like this. We could do a cute metal detail here. Maybe wings. Yeah. That way I could actually get a couple of arm feathers in her silhouette. Boop, boop. And we'll keep that for later. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll do some erasing. Doot. Go. Yep. We'll bring that opacity up. Cool. Now we have one with sleeves and one without sleeves. I think this one is more grand. I like this a lot. And this one I just like. I don't know if I'll end up keeping it, but I did. Okay, cool. That's her silhouette. We'll redraw that. I don't need that skull. Sketches. Great. Now I need to work on this side piece for a second. Shoop. Now that I have a good idea, I need to bring this up so I have a good idea. And this is where the reference thing on this comes in, so that I can easily bring up a small image of her head so I can start working on this. Duck, you're in my way. I'm going to work on her nose first. And interestingly enough, this is the warped side, which is the more interesting side. So we'll keep that. Actually, I lied. I need the duck. I want this eyeball. I've got it. I'm just going to I'll just grab the eye and I'll put it right here. There we go. Done. Actually, Whoop.
Now that I have a good idea, I need to bring this up so I have a good idea. And this is where the reference thing on this comes in.
I think
So
it's
that
the
I can make
fleshy
a
lid that
nice
makes it uncomfortable to look at.
her head, so I can start
Yeah.
working on this.
And we'll do a small thing with this to remind me for coloring later. Yes.
First.
And we'll do her eye,
And
which will pull up
the warp side.
like that. Gross.
Actually,
I want her lip to pull up more.
I want this eyeball. I've got it. I'm just going
There we go. And we'll do this.
grab
I've decided that she doesn't have any ears, so we'll just skip right over that and make some more terrible, horrible wrinkles. And I want to get a look of this not very well defined duck for a minute so I can do a very nice at rest duck look here. We'll do that. Cool. I actually think this is too long, so I'm going to bring it back in. There we go, and we'll do, nope, yes. And she's going to have like cute hair. Well, you know, cute isn't. A little bit feathery. Thinking some sort of impressionistic style. Nope, I don't want that. And we'll do that. A little bit of nose. Cool. Now let's get her head in. She's a little bit narrow, actually. Whoop. Wah. Whoop. Wah. There we go. Cool. And then we'll give her a nice neck. And we can... Nope, don't like that. Like that more. Great. Whoop. Whoop. Cool. And here, great. Doop, boop, 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 boop. Yeah, I like that. Okay, cool. We're gonna keep that. I don't know if I'm going to go ahead and make a skull type. That might be interesting if I do that. But first, I'm gonna flip over to this expression. We'll have that. Bring that down, turn that off, jump to a new layer. Okay. Get out of here. Actually, I lied. Get back in. Okay, cool. Now let's work on making this more detailed. First off, let's work on the eye. I want this fleshy ring around it. Cool. We'll move it up a little bit. Whoop. Nice. And then we're going to work on this part. Okay, good. And I want, these are very interesting. They're not like teeth, they're kind of like a bunch of ridges instead. Which is going to come down a lot to rendering. I keep giving it this silly shoe bill type look. There we go. I think that's coming together. It's kind of wide, I think. And then we'll do its nice ribbed tongue. I wonder why ducks have ribbed tongues. Anyone know? And we'll do that ribbing. Ooh, an extra ribbing along. And then, something's wrong with it. I think the jaw is too far forward, so we're going to move it back a little. Yes, let's move it around. And then we'll do our cute hair locks types. And we're gonna move over to, not that, this, so I can get an image of her nose. Whoop. Yeah, that's why cats have that ribbing. But do ducks need to scrape things off bones? I don't think so. Okay. I want to have a moment of a nice closed eye, maybe even peaceful. It's kind of the wrong angle though, which is unfortunate because I'm going to have to redo it. Jaw, snoot. And we'll do that. Nope, that's not the nose I want. That's not it either. Really good at making the nose I don't want. That's a better angle. We could have, I wonder if I could have a little bit of lip here. Can you even tell that's a lip? And we could pull it over a little bit. Over here. That's nice. Cool. Let's see, the side she has the brow on is this side. I totally did that wrong. There we go. Nope, even worse. There we go. And this side's pulled up a little. Cool. Alright, let's work on this part. We'll do a little bit of erasing. There we go. Give her a nice elbow so she can elbow things. And that looks like Donald Duck fingers. Which, while on theme, is not quite what I'm going for. I need those fingers to come back. Shoop. There we go. And then we'll do that with 2 and pinky. Great. Cool. And then we'll work on this type number, which has some ribbing, probably like that. And then it'll go down to what I'm thinking will be a point. That's an annoying tangent right there. I'll fix it in a minute. Great, and we'll pull that down. Add a couple of feathers here. Some to the elbow, which is a great place to add these, I think. And then we'll go ahead and get that back of the arm. And I think I'm just gonna, no, I'm not gonna add those to shoulder because they're gonna interrupt the wings I want to do here. Whoop. Great. Alright, so wing has joints kind of like that. So we could do something very similar. Kind of look like that without the feathers on them. So we'll do something like that. We'll give her a joint. I think I want that to be outstretched. Erase this stuff. This is in my way. I want it to be outstretched so that it's gross, for one thing. But also just long, wrinkly. You know, if you've ever seen a bald chicken, that's what I'm going for. And then we'll have this one folded over. And that's why she wears her big puffy thing usually, is so that people don't have to look at her sad little chicken wing thing going on over here. Cool. And we'll do a little bit of erasing. Do, 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 do. Cool. I like that. We gotta move her because she is interrupting my fan moment down here. Gonna drop these. Nope, not that. Gonna drop this. Turn that off. Reference. Cool. I'm gonna turn... Wait. This guy. Turn that guy on. And we're gonna move them over. I probably don't actually have to redo her entire dress. I could just... So I could just move it over so I could paint these shoulders. Yeah, I think that'll work. I'm gonna do some erasing work on this down here, so it doesn't get in the way. Nope, too much. There we go. Cool. I like that. I'm going to mess around with that skull thing first and see if that's interesting at all. I'm glad the wings give you the ick. That is what I was going for. So, great. Let's work on doing a little skull moment over here. Like a full skull. I don't know how many teeth people have. I could look it up if I wanted to. But I'm just going to make sure it looks cool instead. And then we'll do a nice gap here. Nope. Yes. And I think it'd be cool if we showed the skull to be warped a bit. I need to turn that down. It's messing with me. To be warped a little. And since the jaw over here can open, it's not a useless jaw. We need to make sure that that matches. I need to look at this bird skull for a second and snap this picture so that I can use it as reference. Whoop. When you're doing art all the time, you have a lot of weird pictures in your thing. So, that's cool. Come here, bird skull. You can be right here. We'll turn you all the way down. Okay, so we'll have... That nose hole is totally in the wrong place. It should be like here. We'll have a bump. And then we'll have some nice wrinkly type stuff happening here. Good. Cool. Back to my sculling. We'll want it morphed in so it has a giant... has a big hole here. Fully cavernous parts. And this is a good part for the skulls to warp into each other. And it can have that would be good. And we'll have a nice big hole for that snoot.
Come here, bird skull. You can be right here. We'll turn you all the way down.
Nice. Now that jaw is probably the thinnest jaw I've ever seen. So we'll do something like this. Pull it back. And then we'll be in. I think I want to have this funny gap here. I could do a neck bone moment. You know, a little neck bone moment. Those are kind of large and weird, but that's okay. I think I just want a little bit of that because I'm going to end up pulling this skull off to the side. How does that look? Ooh.
Nice. Now that jaw is probably the thinnest jaw I've ever seen.
Horrible and freaky. I love it.
Do something like this.
Good, and we'll do that. Good. Great. I will save that for later. I'm probably going to end up like displaying it kind of around here. Ooh, I don't have a lot of space. I'll figure that out in a minute. But now is a very important part of doing some color. Now, someone said, one person said about mandarin duck color. So let's look that up real quick. Get out here. Oh my God, stop. You're being mean to me.
I think I just want a little bit of that.
Ah, crap. Really? Okay. Nope. Up.
How does that look?
Get. Ah, my God.
Horrible and freaky.
Sometimes Pinterest completely freaks out for like no reason. There we go. Now I can turn it off. Good. Now I can jump back in. And we're going to look up mandarin. You think the skull form looks cute? She'd probably appreciate that. Mandarin duck. Is that how it's spelled? Yeah. Aw, that's so cute. And she has such fabulous eyeshadow. That's probably actually what the females look like, and the dudes are probably this beautiful decorative color. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to grab this reference, and I'm going to look up kind of a general duck. I definitely want to go probably... My first initial thought was like white and yellow. Of course, we have a lot of great color options, especially if you wanted to do like iridescent green. And we have these warm browns and stuff. Classic yeller. This guy's so long. Anyway. That's nice. I like that. I'm gonna grab that too. That could be fairly interesting. Now I'll grab him as well because that's a nice color contrast made for clothes, and we'll jump back in. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is clean up my workspace a little bit. This is my first skull drawing, and here's my next. You know, revisiting the idea is always a good idea. Get that out of here. Anyway. Okay. I'm going to probably jump with this, and I think I want a background color. What do my references look like? A lot of warm colors. So I think contrasting with a nice blue would be a good idea. That's a file. I don't want to insert a file. Close that. So I think I'm going to do a background of kind of a navy desaturated blue would be a good idea. I tend to do fairly dark backgrounds. I think it's because it contrasts the best and makes it look like they're standing in a room instead of like bright white. Bright white can mess with your colors, but any color you put on there will actually mess with them. I think I'll do a mid-tone blue and we'll do this sketched edge look. I think I need to make the gals a little bit smaller, because if they're going to break the surface, they need to fully break, not just touch it, because that'll look weird. Yeah. I like the skull showing through on this side, but I also like seeing this. I'll mess with that in a minute. I think I want to start with the full body, so we're going to grab a silhouette color so we can start laying down some flats. I'm going to snatch that up, grab, and around. Boop. I need to come back and do these feathers, but that's okay. We'll start with. Well, I messed that up a little bit, but that's okay. We'll just go back around. No, we won't. I'll end up doing something fairly expressionistic with the feathers, so I don't need to get a perfectly good outline. Oop, I messed up my selection. Ah, darn. Maybe it'd just be better if I did that. Remove that. And then turn off this other layer because it's messing with me. And then get back to outlining. I think what we're going to end up doing is probably like either the dress fairly dark so I can do a nice contrasting skirt, or and I want the sleeves to be contrasting. I do have this idea in my head where they're warm colored, kind of satiny and gold, but that's just because the reference was like that, so maybe I won't end up doing that. Whoop, whoop. Okay, cool. And then we're going to slap it in with a base color. And we could, I saw some brown, deep brown, so that might be cool. Oh wait, I forgot to remove this part here. Great. We'll do a little bit lighter. Let's pull up those color references again. Nope. Yes. And I can steal, I like this color and I like how it fades out into those warm browns. Nope. Yes, that's very, yeah. I think I like that. I need to do some work on the flat behind the scenes. I want to do orange contrasty stuff with her skin. And we could bring it up. I think I'm gonna start with a little bit of shading around her face, not like that. Here we go. I like to start on the flat layer underneath and start doing a couple of gradient types, not with that texture. Eagle Hawk maybe? No. Better for clothes. Maybe... No. Nope. This? Yeah, barely shows up. I think I want that to be a bit warmer, brown toned. And then we'll add a couple of... I keep gravitating to this brush because it doesn't look like what it shows. Oh, I used to use this brush all the time for facial shading. I think it's because it was soft and blended pretty well.
I like to start on the flat layer underneath and start doing a couple of gradient types.
And then we'll do some type of nose contour here. A little bit of limited shading type stuff. And we can adjust this. How close to black is that? That's incredibly close to black. My worry is that on some screens, this isn't going to show up very well.
Gravitating to this brush because it does not look, but it shows. Oh, I used to use this brush all the time for facial.
Maybe I'll keep that and I will work on it instead. We'll add a bit of shading around and I'll come back to it later. Actually, I need to add some of that definition for her fingers here. Cool. And something over this thumb. Yes. Okay, great. Gonna get some flats in there for the rest of her clothing. I'm gonna test out doing that white for the feathers behind her.
My worry is that on some screens, this isn't going to show up very well.
And we'll erase that.
Maybe I'll keep that and I will work on it instead.
Okay. I think I'll go in with cream and then do white fluffing on top. So it's gonna have like a base layer of this cream type thing. Cool. And then for her arms, we could try doing like this shiny blue type. For her thing, we'll just figure it out. Either that or we'll make her dress that color. Nope. There we go. And then that, maybe. It would be nice to make her headdress blue. That'd be cool. Because my first thought for contrasty type was the feathers and her blue and her sleeves here, which is my first ideas for contrast. We could make her dress this warm caramelly color.
I think I'll go in with cream and then
I'm not loving it.
fluffing on top. So it's going to have like a base layer of this.
I want to go something a little darker. We could bring that in. If I do warm accents everywhere, maybe it's this blue that's messing with me. If I kept it simple and just did 2 colors, that's fairly nice. And we could do a lot of detail on her fan, but it might make her feel heavily detailed on one side. Nope, that's not clipping mask.
My first thought for contrast was the feathers and her blue and her sleeves here, which is my first ideas for contrast. We could make her dress this warm caramelly color. Not loving it.
And her headdress, if we made that kind of deep blue, we could contrast it with her head piece up here. And that would be like sticking out blue detailing. Of course, her hair, I think, is going to be bright white because I want the duck to be white. I could make it like very white. Whoop. I need to put that on a different layer. I think I'm starting to like that. Let's work on something else, like if I made her thing a little bit orangier.
And that would be like
That's kind of interesting.
of course her hair
A flock, we could apply kind of a ruddy gradient down her skirt.
to be white. I could make it like
Ooh, that makes her kind of disappear into the floor, which is interesting.
I need to put that on a different layer.
And then let me think about this skirt, this fluff skirt real quick. I'm going to snatch up this color, make it deeper, and I want to find kind of a fluffy-ish brush. I often default to using like Blackburn because I just like the outer texture it has, but I used that on my last Inktober gal who had that,
Let's work on
she had a fluffy scarf type thing going on. So I think I want to try something different.
orange.
Maybe Eagle Honk. No, that's the wrong eagle one. That's the one with color variance. It's not it's not
Kind of
deep
a
enough.
ruddy gradient down her skirt. Ooh.
I want a better shape for this skirt. It's very flat right now. We try doing something like that where it kind of flutters away into the distance a little bit.
I'm gonna snatch up this color, make it deeper, and I want to find.
I think I'm gonna mess with that a smidge.
Default to using like Blackburn, because I just like the.
And then we're gonna warp it, bring the edges down, kind of like that. And then I'll do some erasing on the main bod. Do some work on this. Kind of to brush it out. Yes, and of course we'll erase where it matches on the dress, but I'll do that in a minute. I could just have it hiding underneath that. Oh, that's kind of neat. But I think I'm going to delete this entirely because it's getting in the way of me working on this skirt thing. Oh, not like that. There we go. Cool, I think. Go back to that. Get a lighter color. Do a little bit of shading. Pick that color back up and do kind of like an outer layer. And then we'll snatch up this cream color. Go on top of that. Nope. We'll do a little bit more detail work later. It's fairly interesting, I think. I like it. I think I want... Nope. It's kind of an odd dead color. No, I think it's fine. And I need to jump to her skin and give her eyes. Not like that. I should do this on different layers so that I can easily mess with it. I say as I continue to do it on the same layer so that I don't. Cool. Let's turn that off. I like that. Let's do some flats for these others. I'm gonna slam that into one piece and then I'm going to move up to this gal. We're gonna start by, of course, outlining her like I always do. Alright, and we're going to
I like that. Let's do
jump back to here, grab her skin tone, drop it in, and then we're going to grab this. First, I'm going to put it in a little darker so I can do more shading work with it. And I'm going to start by clipping layer, turn that off, and I want to do, not that one, I think I want to do ob. There we go. We'll pull in and do something like this, which automatically does some shading, and we'll pull this same orange for the beak. And then I'll do some erasing. Okay, clip, drop, and then we'll erase her cheekbones and face like this. Good. Whoop. Cool, I'm going to snatch up this eye, put it in. Cool, and now we'll do a bit of shading here. We'll start with selecting some areas so I can put in gradients and whatnot. Okay, I'm trying to do kind of wide swaths at first so I can start with more shading first, and I'll come in with more detailed. I think I'm going to do this one because I haven't messed with this in a while. Nope. There we go. Problem with this one is that it tends to drag colors around if it's near them. It's because the smudge is really high on this, which is a little bit annoying. I could go in and mess with the smudge if I felt like it, but I haven't. Great, and we'll do a little bit here on her nose. And a little bit following her eye here, a little bigger. I'm trying to do kind of wide swaths at first, so I can start with more. Great, I'm going to snatch up slightly brighter color and get to work on this part. And we'll go up like that. Oh, I forgot to color in this feather. I wonder if I could do a few bips of orange here and there. Kind of around, and we'll work that in a little more in a second. Okay, let's get a bit more shading in. And we'll do that. Give her a nice... On this side, she doesn't actually have an eyebrow, which is fine, you know. Eyebrow got yeeted. And we'll do a little bit of that. Make it a little wider. And kind of do a very wide swathing shading moment. Now I'm going to color pick a lot of the shading and stuff that's already here, so I can move it around for better detail. I want to snatch this bright white in for some nice head shading on our cute duck head. And then we'll come in with some loose shading around her beak here. Cool, and I think at this point I want to mess with the background color a bit. So I'm just going to jump into the hue and saturation. Purple's nice, desaturate it. I'm just slipping into my darker background ways. I can't help it. Well, I can't, but I'm not gonna. And then we can mess with this blue a little bit, and I think what I would like to do is first, not that, color grab it, along with that, and that, and then I can do a little bit of work. And I think the first thing I want to do is bring up my color reference yet again. Yeah, that's the blue I want to snatch. And we're going to add kind of a paperish texture to this with this brush. Going outward. And then we'll do a third and final thing. That's nice, I think. And I can turn that off, and we'll do a nice, we'll do color grab this guy. Nope, not with that. Go, 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 go. Mm-hmm. Then we'll remove a little bit more. Boop, boop. Good. Continue to work on that. Okay. Oh, and there's one here. Shoop. Good. We're going to snatch. Nope. We're going to snatch this slap color up. I'm going to drop these together. That'll do a clipping mask and snatch this hair, which I think I used Abomination to do with. Great. A little bit of erasing. Great. Now, my first thought was to do pink here, but I think I might actually do more of a salmony orange color, which I think would also be hideous. Which is what I'm going for. Clipping mask would be great. Drop it underneath, and yes. And then we'll do a bit of erasing. And then I'll blend this out a bit. Okay, cool. And we'll grab this beak color for our guy here. Is this the right? Yeah, that'll work. Yeah. Great, and we'll grab, do a little bit of fur detailing around here. Cool. I'm going to snatch this color so that I can paint in her dress. Go up and down. Whoop. Cool. And we'll do that. Now I'm going to turn on our other sketch, and I'm going to steal this painted scribble here. I'm going to move her over so she lines up with their skin. And now I gotta do a bit of erasing work, just a little, mainly right around her arms so that I can come in with her arm color. Great. And I think I might still erase this just to not muddy up my first drawing. Alright, cool. And I'm going to fix the color job here. Is this alpha lock? No, it's not. Good, perfect, nice. Okay, and then I'll snatch her color. Nope, that's not a snatch. There we go. There we go. Good. Okay. I like that, I think. Yes. Now we're going to cool. I'm gonna do some shading now, and I'm gonna start with the highlights because everything's already a little dark. Go, 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 add. This is way too bright for now, but I'm gonna go ahead and switch to a bigger brush so I can do the erasing technique. I don't like that color. Makes her look yellow. Switch to a wider color. Maybe even, that's kind of interesting. Kind of puts her cool. We'll bring that way the flip down, and then I can actually do some deleting. I like to use Eagle Hawk for this, I think, because it adds a little bit of texture and it blends nicely. So we need to remember where the light's coming from so that we can do some shading here, because the first beginnings of it. And we'll do some shading around here on her neck. Shade these out. I like to do the shading right on top of the flats so that I have better colors to pick from later when I do the painting portion of it. And we'll soften that out a bit. I don't know if I'm happy with this highlight color. I'm gonna go back to yellow for a second. Maybe a little warmer. I like that better. I was right the first time. Cool. We'll do a little bit shading here, up to one side of her dress. Give her volume. And then we'll shade out the bottom of this. Not like that. I like that. We'll do the same thing for her arms over here. And we'll go here. We'll do a little bit simpler just on this side, just because I've already done on one side. I like that.
One side of her dress.
Cool. Very rude. Dog's flipping out. Ah, cool. Alright, and gonna do some shading. Oh, I gotta color her webbing in her fingers. Doot, doot, doot. Very nice. Cool. Did I get any shading on our fan? No. Good. Yes. And then we're going to come in with the shadows. Why don't you turn off the shading? Yeah. And I'm going to start painting the shadows in first. Like this, we're going to start with multiplying. Up like that. And I think what's neat is that she's blending into the shadows with her dress. Her dress is falling into the shadows. We can get a little bit of shading work done. Great. And we'll do a little bit on her hand, here, bit on her arm, some definition, underneath her neck, and around, through. Good. Alright. Oh, we gotta do a little bit of work on... No, that's on a different layer, so that's fine. Cool. I'm actually gonna grab this background color a little bit so that I can jump up and do a little bit of make her dress disappear into the background. The only problem with doing this is sometimes I change my mind about the background color, and then I've got to completely change all the gradient stuff I did. But I'm sure that won't happen this time. It'll be fine. Yeah, I like that. Cool. Yeah, okay. And now we're going to jump to our two closer up poses. It's actually decently well shaded, so it could definitely do with some highlights. And we'll do some right around her eye. Am I on the wrong layer? No, I'm not. It's just on multiply, so it won't show up. There we go. That's incredibly bright. We'll work on that. Do a little bit on her lip right here. I want to highlight the many creases going up. And then we'll do a little bit of work around the eye. Here, probably at this crease. I want to hint at downy, furry, feathery type stuff. Alright, cool, and we'll lower the opacity of that. Nice. Here definitely needs some shading. So we'll jump to multiply. Start with under the head, probably. Around her eyes. Mouth. I need to pinken that up. So I should do that before I shade it out. We'll do a little pinker. Nope, not like that. Whoop. Pink, up, around. Cool. Then we'll turn our shading back on. multiply, down, color, grab. We'll do some work down her back. A little bit here, there. Cool. Now I think what's left is some painting work. Good. I have to pick a nice eye color for her. Do I leave the line art black? I guess so. Oh, and I have to do something about the skull if I want to include it. My first thought is to grab this. And I could drag it underneath our skull, and I could first turn everything off so I can see it. And I'm going to jump up, pick this yellowy color. And quickly paint in kind of the skull. Wrong thing. There we go. Whoop, and up and around and around. There we go. Nope, that didn't work. Why? There we go. And I'll turn the line art to that. Yeah, we'll do a little bit of shading, mainly in the eye sockets. Oh, I need to erase that because that is hollow. Yes. Cool. I think I need to also erase this part. It's the holes in the skull that make it creepy. Good. Good. And we'll do a little bit of shading around here. Cool. Great. I think I want to desaturate this little, and we can make that match a little bit. Alpha lock will make this nice and dark as it should be. These holes. Okay. Oh, I need to work on that. There we go. Alright. Duck skull. Great. And I could either, I can duplicate that. Shoop. Turn it on. And I could do that, or I could do that on top. Keep that. Put it underneath and peek. Nope, not like that. And peek it. I'd probably have to shrink these guys a little to do that. Is that worth it? Does that add anything to my display? I mean, I like knowing how the skull looks. I don't know. I'll keep that for later. Okay, I'm gonna do some painting now. And I think I'll go ahead and leave everything, the line art black. I'm gonna start with her hair because it's bugging me how undone it is. And I'm gonna start with doing some detail locks around her face. I want them to be kind of round and cute, just to kind of mimic that feather shape. And then we're going to get in clip gradient here and end in with the bright white.
Just to kind of mimic that feather shape.
I'm going to cut it up with her own skin tone so I can get it up a bit more, because I want it to be kind of like a cute, I want it to be a pixie cut look. And I'll do her things. I have a want to do like bright white eyelashes, but I can't get them to work. It's like they're not clear enough. I'm not sure what to do. So I'm just going to work on her eye around here. Be good if I got a little bit higher contrast around her eye, especially this one, because the other eye is going to steal the show in just a second once I detail it out. And I need to define her nose a bit. It's a little bit undefined. Undefined? What? Why? Mm-hmm. I want to color pick this so I can get her nose up. Not like that. Cool. I should do something for her lips. I could either give her like a lipstick, or I could just give her some nice naturally shaded lips. I got distracted by this collar. Doop doop. I could snatch this. I could do maybe like a yellowy color. Not like that. Mm-mm. I kind of like that from afar. I think I need to change the shape. Maybe the brush. Nope. Yeah, we'll keep the other one natural since I do have a different colorway. I'll turn that and I'll jump up here and do her upper lip. It's being pulled away from the skin, so we'll do some shading like that. Nope. There we go. I could give her a cupid's bow. That might be fun. Yeah. We're going to cut that down a little bit because it's pulled up a little bit too much. I like that. That's cool. Gotta figure out what jewelry to give her. Ah. Now I'm going to color it around like this. Do some shading here. What layer am I on? That's the right layer. And we'll grab this to get definition. Okay. Cool. I need to work on this other eye. And it's being pulled away. I need to grab this color. Give me. Nope. Too much shading. Grab a lighter, less aggressive color. Doop doop. That's cool. I'm going to work on her hands, and I'm probably going to just move her hands over once I'm done with them. I want to give her that webbing on her fingers. This thumb underneath should probably be a darker color, just because you can't see it. I'm going to give her lighter nail beds, I think. Horrifying, gotta work on this. Yup, cool. Cool. And I'm gonna snatch up this orange color for the webbing. This might be too small of a resolution to fully define this webbing. Nope, it definitely comes across. To me, at least. And then we'll go ahead, do a little bit of shimmeriness. Cool. Oh, I accidentally deleted the other one. I hate when that happens. And then we'll do a little bit of ribbing. Cool. I'm going to come in and do a little bit of chopping around here, mainly defining it out a little bit so I can clean this up. Cool. Oh yeah. Alright. Gonna move down and work on the sleeve. Ideally, it'd be cool if this sleeve was nice and shiny. I haven't figured out what color I want her jewelry to be. I could just go warm and keep it gold, which is probably the right move here. Any lines that are facing the light, I like to make really thin. If I have the black lines kept, I like to keep the lines facing the light nice and thin because it gives a little bit more weight to the drawing. Boop, boop. I'll do the same thing up here. Okay. Cool. Nope, that's the wrong color. Nice. Cool. I like that quite a bit. Yes. Alright, I'm going to jump to another layer and start doing all the jewelry. I'm going to start with this really dark yellow color. I'm going to go ahead and outline all of the jewelry I want to do. I think I'm going to have like a little piece here. Maybe something like with wings would be cute and subtle. Would be nice and subtle. And then we'll jump up here and do... They're not quite earrings because they're technically hanging off her hat. So we'll do that, and then we're going to make this crown bit gold too. I like that. Oh, she has another gold leaf. The feather tip is pointing at her hand, so we'll do that. And then we'll do this part gold as well. Oh, I gotta do her nail bed here. I'll get to that. But first, I'm thinking of doing some feather detail pointing towards the edge of the fan, and I'll duplicate that around once I'm done with it. Great. Good, good. And maybe whoop, some ribbing around the details of her dress. Cool. I'm going to go in with the next lighter color, and I'm going to start doing, I call it the mid shading. And we'll do kind of a subtle wing texture along here. No, that's not facing the light. I'm doing it wrong. There we go. And then we'll do the same thing with this sleeve here. Nope. Yep. We're going to go up like that. Boop. Cool. And her gold up here. There's a point, so we're just going to do that. Boop. Cool. We're going to jump to a cleaner, brighter yellow. And this is a smaller highlight, of course. We'll go to her leaf, feather type thingbob, move it. With the sharper highlight, you can actually go on the very edge of the dark side. The edge of the dark side. It works. For metal, you can just kind of go nuts, really. You just don't want to overdo it on the highlights and cover up all the shading. And now I'm going to go in with one more layer, and this is the crown light. And it really, in my head, brings all of it together. All those nice harsh lights. We'll do it here, here, whoop, whoop. And this should be pretty thin looking. Makes her dress glisten. Great, now I'm going to grab this copy, flip, move it a little bit till it's in line with that. Now I need to flip it over. Good. Cool. 3 feathers. I like that. And now I can see how much the gold adds, and the gold adds quite a bit. I need to do one extra layer of darkness up here for these flat edges. And maybe it'd help if I did a little bit of ridging around here on the dark edges. Yes, good. Same thing here. I need to add a bit of more shading because it's a wider metal area, so it needs a bit more work. I'll bring this blackness in, add a ridge, and then I'll take that and do this. Cool. Nice. I need to steal this nail bed color and put it on a thumb here since I've decided to do some nail bedding. Up, shine, slight shine. Cool. And then we'll define this hand a bit because it's very dark. Has a lot of black line in it still from the sketching phase. So we'll define it, snatch, not that color, solid black. Cool. I like that. That's nice. We're going to go in and do a little bit more line work around here. Okay. I think that shadow comes up a little bit too much. So we'll do that. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. I need to work on these feathers. We'll go ahead and combine that. Combine that too. Cool. I'm gonna steal, I'll work on the other one in a minute. I think it's time to do this fan here. Do I have any nice textures? I have this tessellated texture, which could be kind of neat. Whoop. I like that, I think. I think I want to do something over the top with it, Blech. Probably stealing this pale blue texture, jumping up, and doing a very nice feather detail. Nope, not like that. Maybe a solid detail would be better. Nope. Okay. I'm going to do a little bit of ribbing. Ooh. And then I need to delete the excess texture around here. Excess texture? Rude. Okay, I'm gonna try. I think that works. What layer am I on? The wrong layer, I see. Nope, that's the wrong color. There we go. Cool. Very cool. Alright, I'm gonna jump to her eyeballs. What eyes should I do? My reference duck had blue eyes. Am I on a different layer? I need to jump to a different layer. Boop. I could do one blue and one darker brown. That way we could do that blue duck eye, which we could match, and then we'll have a nice brown eye. We'll come in with that dark. Yee. Now let's do this nice warm eye. Cool. And I'm gonna snatch this eyeball. Boop. I'm taking it over here. I need to drop it underneath the color layer. Ooh. And we'll do that. Cool. And give it that nice flesh color going around. Nice. Alright. And since we're back up here, we need some shines. Doop. Doop. I'm going to try that. No, I don't want that. Maybe her original hair color before she got mutated with a duck. Happens to the best of us. Her original color was brown. Doop. We could make it this cute reddish brown. Yeah, I don't care for that. We'll leave it black. We'll give her a bit more of a wing. There we go. And then we'll do kind of the same on our other side. Not like that. There we go. I like that. I'm going to snatch this head grab and this hand and put it over. Nope, not like that. Get out of here. Grab, and I'm going to put it over here on her face. Does that work? There we go. I've decided that we're not going to ear. Cool. I want to do a different lip here, so I'm going to do that. Nope. Smaller. Whoop. I'm going to snatch this color, and we're going to give her a nice neutral lip. Maybe even a smidge redder. Nope. There we go. And what am I using? I'm using the wrong brush. That's why it's not doing what I want to. We'll go to a darker, and we'll do that lip tone, which I think is nice. And now we're going to work a little bit on these arms. Not with that. And we'll stripe out this. And I'm going to give her some feathers sticking out. We want a little bit of shading for these arm muscle here. Mm-hmm. And then we'll do the same on this side. We'll actually do a little bit of highlights right where her shoulder is so it stands out a bit. That's nice. And then I'm going to steal this detailing I did for part of this dress so that I can finish the detailing work on the rest of the dress. There we go. Am I in the right run? I am good. I'm gonna do like a full gold wing here. Gonna go up and around. It should be the same on both sides because it's jewelry. Should probably be the same, and I think the gold ribbing is gonna go all the way up and around. Cool. We'll snatch. I'll grab that yellow. And then white to finish it off. That is not white. That is something else. There we go. Cool. Grab. Nope. Yes. We'll grab that, flip it over, and do something here. We'll erase. What eraser am I on? That's fine. Grab. Cool. Do a little bit of detail work around here. Cool. Alright, I'm going to do her feathers in her arms. Probably should start with a darker color, like that. We need to do some cleaning up on the silhouette real quick. But I'll do that in a minute. Put one here. Grab that color real quick. Grab that color real quick. And I'm going to do another steal and steal this. Copy, grab, move. I don't know why I tilted it. It's not like I tilted it when I moved this over. There we go. And now I could do my shading. I want to blend it out a little bit. Cool. I just want to clean up this edge for a second because it's bugging me. Cool. Alright, I think I want to add deeper saturated shading to this shawl type thing here. I'm going to start with like Eagle Hawk right over the top of it. I'll erase in a minute. It's not really a shawl, they're just giant puffy sleeves. And then we'll do that. A little bit deeper for these crevasses. And then I'll grab the original color and start doing some shiny type bits. And I think I'm going to do one extra layer of shine here so that it really pops. And then I'm going to look into doing something for her skin. Because my idea when I started painting this is that I was going to add some sort of subtle ribbing like ducks have on their legs and feet. And I don't know if I'll be able to get that in. I need to snatch this color so that that looks a bit more round. Delete it better. Yes, that's good. I like that. I think I'm going to do something similar with this dress by adding more saturated, not that saturated color to it, especially where the light hits, just kind of correcting this color a little bit. Now that I'm really getting into the nitty-gritty over here. And then we'll add a little bit of a shine here. I want it to be subtle and not as harsh as the upper. And I think that's quite nice. Okay, I gotta do some sort of lighting over here. I don't think I ever got around to that, so let's do that now. I'm gonna add some lighting, and I think I want to work on these wings for a second. So we'll jump to add, bring it way down, drop it like it's hot. I'm going to jump to another layer. Oh, I forgot to delete that. Luckily, the layers aren't combined yet, so I can easily delete it. Good, and I think I might come in and delete that a little bit so that it's not messing with the silhouette of the first one. Because this one's kind of a bit of a recolor, just for the fun of it. Good. And while we're at it, I think I want to add a little bit of definition down here. I'm going to use Eagle Hawk. I'm just going to use a big brush, and I'm going to add a little bit of detail. The wind is trying to blow my house over. If you're hearing a weird noise, that's what that is. Good. I'm gonna grab. Nah, I'm just gonna work on these wings for a sec. I'm not gonna get distracted by the gold ribbing. Not today. Good, and we're going to grab these wings and we're going to make them a little bit more saturated at the tips. And I think true to chicken wing inspiration here, we'll add some wonderful blues and grays into the shading, which will definitely help with our raw chicken wingness. Yeah, this thing's pink, but on the thing it looks this color. Good, I'm gonna come in with Eagle Hawk because it's softer, not that big. We'll come in with blues and yellows and grays is what makes it chickeny. And then we'll come in, not that yellow. Cool. And gross, and then we'll come back in with kind of an overarching orange shading. And then I'll start with a little bit of feather work. I got a color in this eyeball. Give me that. Nope. Actually. I can just do that, grab flesh skin layer. And then I'm gonna do lighter shades of blue like this. It wasn't looking directly at us, so we'll mimic that with dark. Well, I like that. I think I want it to blend in more with that skin. So I'm going to come in with a small brush and add touches of it throughout so that doesn't look like it's glowing. Cool. Alright, I'm gonna flip this and see if it looks weird. It totally does, but I've been looking at one way for ages. I think I'll do a little bit of work here. Oh. Silly me, I haven't plugged this in. Is that working? What is that? What was that notification from? Huh. Okay, that's odd. Okay, well, what are you gonna do? Oh, it was my pencil. It was my Apple Pencil that was running out of battery, which is a little bit concerning. I'm going to grab this orange real quick. Jump up to another thing. And then I'm going to do this shape and see if that creates the effect I want. Great. I'm gonna switch it to probably not add, overlay, down, up. Procreate is getting mad at me. Okay. Okay. Got upset because I was changing it. There we go. And then I'll jump up, grab this color, and do a bit of a shine. Nope. Alright, so I did this drawing in 2 hours and 40-ish minutes, a little under. And I was inspired by, of course, you know, combining a duck and making a horrible abomination. I really like where this stream went. I had so much fun. Thank you for joining me today on today's stream. I'm going to end it here since my pen is dying. And I think I've reached a really good place on the rendering of this drawing. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you all again once my thing is. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you